It's good to be alive. You're on the drive home, and we've had some really interesting chats about music lately, and we've got another one with a Queensland artist who's been hard at work and has just released a new song. Keith Christ is with me. Keith, good afternoon. How are you, mate?
I'm great, Dan. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. It's a lovely day, and it's always good to talk about music, and yours comes with a message and a story of how you've gotten to this point. So I guess can we before we get to the music that you've released, tell me about your music journey. Where did it start for you?
Yeah, look, music started basically in primary school. I was involved in the school choir, and we recorded some albums and did some competitions. So that really birthed something deep inside of me. From there, I made at high school, we just find an old creek bed on our weekends and lay there and sing John Farnham songs.
That's
and,
awesome.
and again, yeah, and in church, singing at church and the church worship team, that all really birthed music for me from there. So, yeah, look, just a bit of history. I've had two marriages. The first one fell apart due to mental health struggles with my wife and my own fatigue, and the second one, there was a lot of hurtful things spoken about my singing, which I actually stopped and gave up. I parted ways with music for a while.
I understand that health has been a big part of your journey as well, and has maybe inspired some of where your music comes from. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, definitely I can do that. So when I was 40, I was involved in a workplace assault. I was diagnosed with PTSD. At the same time, they told me I had Asperger's, which is on the ASD spectrum, and I've now found that's a gift from God. It helps me with my creative abilities for music. So there were other health issues where I was labelled a legal cripple. I'm actually missing a third of my lower bone mass in my spine and have 6 crushed discs. And during all this, I formed an alcohol addiction. The physical and emotional pain was just so overwhelming.
Yeah.
And I've since learnt that substances and devices, they're just not an answer at all. God's our only answer.
So when was that you kind of had that realisation and then kind of come back to the point where you're now singing about God and what He's done in your life?
Yeah, look, so I'll be honest, I never gave up my Bible. I read Proverbs daily as my very basic need, but I did give up my hope, and it took a time in July where God literally showed up in my bedroom. It's an experience I cannot fully explain, but it was something I'll never come back. When God touches you, He touches you. My bedroom lit up like a stadium light, and God began to heal my body and took me off 9 medications in that next couple of months.
Wow, that's amazing. So from there, how did music come back into the picture?
Yeah, so I was actually an NDIS, or am an NDIS participant, and there's a local place called Team Music Care that help guys with music. They're artists from the 70s and 80s and modern as well, and I picked up bass guitar with those guys, and after a little while I gave up in that November, and then I started to sing again. The Christmas carols just birthed something inside me again, and I said, look, how about we record some covers for fun? I did a songwriting workshop with former Australian Idol winner Natalie Gauchi, and we had a chat after that. Nat listened to my covers and said, hey, you can really sing, and then she gave me some guidance. Dan, over the years I've seen fake. When someone's lying to you, but she really believed in me. There was something in her eyes and her voice that spoke confidence and encouraged me to go outside my comfort zone. Yeah, have you met someone like that, Dan?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's so important when, we have something that is building when we're in those early stages. I think having someone that believes in us and can see maybe even further than we can and kind of puts that into words, it's so powerful.
It is. It definitely is. So, yeah, she encouraged me that night. There was an open mic event on, and I actually sung Tyrone Wells' Joy in the Morning. I actually hadn't been near a stage since my 20s, so, Natalie believing in me really makes a big difference.
Wow. That's a journey. That is quite a journey, Keith. Thank you for sharing that. I do want to catch up now because, that's where you're kind of coming from. But now you are releasing your very first single. I want to find out a little bit more about that. We're chatting with Keith Christ, a Queensland artist releasing his very first single. It's just come out. We're going to talk a bit more about it. You're on the drive home with Dan. It's good to be alive.
You're on the drive home with Dan. That was a bit of John Mark McMillan love at the end. We're catching up with Queensland artist Keith Christ. Gone through an incredible journey, as we've just heard there, Keith. And now you're in this place where you're about to release your first song. As people download it, or they're streaming it, what are you hoping that they are experiencing and feeling from your music?
Yeah, look, I really hope that they can relate to the lyrics. We've all gone through some crazy stuff in our lives, and I try to be a little bit more raw with the lyrics to say, hey, this is life, it's real, it's happening, so that they can actually apply that to their story. And they can actually place themselves deep into the song to find the liberty and hope that the lyrics also bring out. And that there's so much more to life in the moment they're in right now, that God has given them a future and a hope. And we can truly hold on to God's promises and know it will be okay, even though things might be a bit crazy in life right now.
Yeah, I love that. And I think, as you said earlier, people know when something is fake. And I think when you can embrace, that real feeling and those raw lyrics, I think it really helps people to connect with your music. Where do some of the songs come from? So you've got one that's coming out, Secret Tears. What inspires that one?
The Secret Tears is actually speaking to a lot of people about their hurts in life, but a lot of women that I've got to know over the last 12 months really opened up and shared their life stories. And a young girl at a local cafe that I frequent came up to me one day as I was reading my Bible and said, can we have a chat? And she just poured out her story, a 19-year-old girl. And in that moment, I just took up a pen and paper and wrote Secret Tears. We all have hurts, but we've got joy. Our life is great, but amongst it all, there's the craziness. But Jesus sees us, he sees our tears, and there is hope, and we can hold on.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So tell me, is it out now, and where can we find your music?
Yeah, so Secret Tears was released on the weekend. You can find it on YouTube Music, Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud, and most other streaming platforms.
Fantastic. So go ahead and give Keith a follow. Make sure you check out this song, Secret Tears. Beautiful message. Keith, there's a few more songs coming out over the next couple of months. Is that right?
That's right. I've got quite a few on the go at the moment.
Very, very good. And they'll all be kind of coming out through the same avenues, streaming, Apple Music and that sort of thing?
Yeah, so definitely coming out on those streaming platforms. They've all got great meaning as well.
That's great. And how can we stay in touch with what you're doing? Do you have social media and those sorts of things if you're performing or working on new projects?
Yeah, so I actually took social media out of my life. However, I understand for the music, it's something that is imperative to do. So over the next couple of weeks, I've got a team helping me to put that back together just for the music side of things. And there will be a website coming up probably in the next month or so as well. Fantastic.
Well, we'll make sure that we get those when they're available and put those out there. Keith, thank you so much for your time today, mate.
That's great, Dan. I really appreciate it.
Well, we love getting to chat about music and where it comes from. Great to hear from Keith there. Make sure you give him a follow and see some of the releases coming up over the next couple of months, as well as his brand new song. We have some Joshua Micah right now with Parachute. You're on the drive home with Dan. It's got to be alive.